Thank you all, ladies. As you've heard from their experience, they're the best ladies to talk about branding today and how to brand ourselves. So how I approach this session this time, usually I come up with all the questions, and then I just come and then ask everybody else, This time I put a link and I said, please share your questions, what you want to ask the panelists, and these are they, and they had questions. But then I still had mine, one or two, which I just want to ask first, and then I'll put it up to I'll ask the questions from the audience, and then, we'll flow with the story. The first question I had, actually, for both of us is how to walk into a room. Like, I know today I was trying to watch everybody else. I was standing there and walking around, but I was watching. People who walk in and they're so scared. Should I talk to somebody? Should I be quiet? Should I engage? Growing up as a young professional, how would you step into a room, knowing that you want to leave out of that room different how you came in? I'll start with you, Eva.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Good evening, can you hear me? Before I respond to that question, let me first celebrate you, Christine. Thank you. We were just whispering with Joanne, and it is really an excellent thing you're doing. You are courageous, you are audacious, and you have clarity about what it is you want to achieve through this tool, and you have a lovely boss and organization that supports you. Yeah. So both of us are immensely proud of you. And let me be the first one to say it before Joanne goes. We've been best friends since we were 13.
Oh.
Yes, we've known each other, and she's one of my best friends. And she's my go-to girl, yeah? So just so that we can clear with the intros. But that's a lovely question. So, in the context of personal branding, and I'm sure we will get to define it as we move along, it is very important, first and foremost, to be secure in who you are. Okay? Wake up telling yourself you're the best they ever got. It is absolutely important to negate and mitigate any other voices that have ever come into your life. Okay? It doesn't matter what they said to you, how they said it, how they defined you, or perhaps how they are currently defining you, within reason. So that's the number one, because that then gets you to dress up right, to get comfortable in your skin, and to hold your head high as you begin to walk through that door. But because we're in the context of personal branding, you always must have clarity around your must-airs. What is the primary message I want to communicate? And what, if I don't have the opportunity to articulate that message, what is the alternate message that I want to leave in the door? And if you can oblige that within the 15 minutes, the 1 hour, the 10 minutes you have, then you're walking out of the door completely comfortable with yourself about the objective that you had for yourself, a clear goal that you had for yourself, and that you had an opportunity to strike on a primary objective and an alternate. Okay?
Yeah.
So I would say walk in there with a confidence, because they can never find another version of you better than what they got.
Thank you. You can see I still need help. Huh? So thank you very much. Christine, I really have to echo the same sentiments and say it's just absolutely wonderful to watch you grow, flourish, and bring together your fellow women to do the same. So just lifting each other up. You're on a ladder and you're making sure that the next step, the person behind you can come up, the person ahead of you keeps moving, So let's keep moving, and let's do that for each other always. Ladies, there is so much available in the world. There's no scarcity. Let's just build each other up. Eva has answered very well, and I want to say that one thing I've realized is that anytime you walk into a room, First impressions count. Okay? So let me just talk about one time I left my house and I was in a rush. It's a long time ago, I was in my 20s. And I picked a dress. And you know how you pick your dress and it's creased? And I said it will iron on the body. And I went to town, Nairobi City Center CBD by bus then, came out at KICC and was walking to Green Corner. You all know that location? And as I'm walking, you know the side of KCB building there? It is vivid in my eyes. I met a girl who had just, quote unquote, stolen my boyfriend, walking towards me. Her dress was ironed. Her hair was on point. She looked like the epitome of elegance. Can you imagine how I felt? In my it will iron on the body dress. Suffice it to say, from that point, it was a life-changing experience. I will never wear a dress that needs ironing. If it does, I will iron it myself. I wake up in the morning, my clothes are hung, they've been ironed, I will pick it up, I have a personal iron, I will iron my dress again, just to make sure. Add insult to injury, I went to NYS, I know how to iron. Okay? So, for me, that makes a lot of a difference. Just the confidence of walking out knowing from the minute I leave my house, correct, I don't have to worry about wardrobe. Okay? So ladies, how do you walk? How do you walk into a room? First, zero worries about wardrobe. Eliminate that. It's a simple one to do. Anyone can do it. So just first deal with that one. I'm not worrying about wardrobe. I dressed in a nice dress. I like what I'm wearing. I'm fine. Deal with that one first. I like my makeup. I like my hair. I like whatever. Whether it's hair you bought or hair you grew, it doesn't matter. Just dress right. Be happy in how you look. The second thing, how you walk into a room, is that when you walk into a room, remember, as you're walking in, you're looking at the people and you're kind of curious. Who are they? Sometimes a little intimidated. What might they be? What are they thinking about me? Always remember they're doing the same thing. They're looking at you and saying, oh my gosh, who's that hot woman? Who's that smart woman? Who's that elegant woman? Wow. You know, that's what they're thinking. So comfort yourself and give yourself the assurance that it's a two-way street. And therefore, be the first person to break the ice. So walk into a room, and whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, be the first person to say, hello, how are you? Shake the hand, eye contact. My name is Joanne, nice to meet you. So what's your name? You get. And straight away, you have one ally, okay? In the room, whether you came alone or not. My table here already, they're my best friends already, you know? So always do that. It just breaks the ice. And it gives you a sense of protection. Because if anything bad was happening to me, I can tell you, my table mates, already we've formed a team, all right? They'll come out and say, no, leave Joanne alone, you know. So always do that. And I think walking into a room is so important because it's walking, whether it's a boardroom, whether it's an interview, whether it's the doctors, whether it's what, we all know how some people walk in and they're harassed, others walk in and they breeze through. Thank you.
Lovely. Lovely. I think you can stop there. Anyway, so I have another question, which is quite a tricky question if you ask me. Which brand persona earns you more respect when you walk into a room? The quiet one, the talkative one, and now as a woman leader, so you walk in and you want the respect that it deserves, yeah? But which personality would be ideal? Or how do you basically, bring out your persona when you walk into a room?
I think it depends. Don't you agree? It really depends. Are you walking into a church meeting? Are you walking into an interview? Because there's a sense in which, the panel needs to see you respectful and, the humility card in this context may work. So really it depends. Are you going into a debt collection session? Hello, with a client who's been ducking you? Are you going to recruit? So it really depends. But I think a guiding principle would be authentic. And this is what is important for us to always remember. I think when we last had a conversation, Christine, I was saying that living in this age of IG, etc., there is somewhere we're losing the authenticity, and maybe that's really where the struggle is. But qua ground, things need to be authentic. So I think just be your authentic self, read the room. It's very important to read the room. Prepare in advance. You know, this whole thing of fluking it through an engagement may cost you brownie points that you don't really have bandwidth to lose. The creased dress, the creased shirt. I'm using it metaphorically. So I always prepare before I go to any meeting, even if it's just next door, you know, the meeting room is next door to my office. I want to know what are we going to discuss so that psychologically, mentally, you just, you know, have your gears in place. So winging it is not the way to go. Read the room and read it right. Read it objectively. Read it from the point of confidence because you know who you are, you know your craft, you know your value. Know your value because that also then dictates the energy that you will move from one direction to the other. If it's a debt collection, your persona doesn't need to be, you know, laughing and, you know, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So read the room. Understand what is the purpose that has gotten me here? What's my primary call or primary ask? What is my alternate? So for example, let me stay with debt collection. It's end of month. We're SMEs, so I'm hoping you understand where we're at in the month. So assuming that's what it is, you would want to have the right tone and clarity around your message, having understood, and then you employ the right energy, the right empathy levels so that you can achieve that objective. So I think the takeaway here is it depends, but absolutely jealously guard your authenticity.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, for me, one of the things, everything she said, I'm just layering on top. I'm not going to repeat. So the one thing I'll say is also, always remember that what's in your head, we are not mind readers. So if you don't speak up, we have no clue that you're a genius. You'll just be a pretty face. So always take the opportunity for people to know what's between your two ears. They can't see it. You have to say it. You have to show it, whether it's a document you're presenting, whether it's you speaking up, whatever it is. Now, people say, oh, there are those people who talk a lot, there are those people who don't talk a lot. Yes, but you have an objective. So it's not a matter of being introvert, extrovert, shy, or bold. It's a matter of knowing what is the required action at this point, which is my career move. And this career move is so important that I'm going to get out of my shell and actually put my hand up and ask that question or offer that opinion or lend my insight to this particular conversation. So in simple words, kimbelembele huenda mbele.
I like that.
Let me also add something that Joanne has prompted. We're in a very chauvinistic society and system, and you know the boardrooms are still quite that way. I like that she said we're not mind readers, but the narrative that's probably running through a boardroom scenario is that, you know, what does she have to offer? Oh, well, let me surprise you. And that's why speaking up and articulating is non-negotiable. They must hear your voice, and they must hear it from a place of authority in terms of the subject, and a place of knowledge, and of course a place of respect, tone-wise, but not from a place of meekness and apology. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I want to say, just to pass to Eva's, you know that thing of, sorry guys, but I'd like, no. What are you sorry about? You know, it's, excuse me, I've got something very important to say, okay? It's not sorry, excuse me, sorry. No. I've got something so important. You guys can't wind up this meeting before listening to this. It's going to change the direction of this narrative. Sawa, don't apologize unless you really have done something wrong. The word sorry, we say it too much.
Always have those comments, then drop mic, you know? Yeah. So I got a question from the registrants, and it's quite a broad question, but I hope you can answer it, yeah, in whichever way you can. One lady was asking, how do I repackage myself for better opportunities? Mm-hmm. That's just as it is. Yeah, you can start from there.
Great. I actually had a conversation similar to that just earlier this evening. And the one thing is that you're repackaging yourself for what? You must know. So let's use an example. I'm repackaging myself to be next president of Kenya. What do I need to do? I first need to scan the entire universe for all presidents and see what is it that presidents bring to the table. How do they walk into a room? What do they sell and how do they sell it? After I finish with all presidents and I distill it to the top 5, I now go down to the women presidents. Because I need to look at how women rock up at presidential level. What do they wear? How do they sit? How do they eat? Do they drink wine in public or do they pretend not to drink? You know those nuances? I have to learn all those from those people who have been ahead of me because there's no point in me reinventing the wheel. After I've done sufficient homework, I will then create a brand map for myself. I will say, if I want to be president, these are the things I must do to even be in the list of potential candidates. How do I walk into a room? What are the subject matters that I must be an expert in? So if it's the economy, I must have the numbers. I'll sit here and I will talk GDP, I'll talk population, I'll talk the macroeconomic factors that will influence the growth of our economy. I'll talk about the microeconomic factors. I'll talk about SMEs, medium-sized, large-scale businesses. I'll talk about the different sectors that we must focus on. You get the drift? So in other words, whatever it is you're going into, that subject matter, you become an expert. How do you become an expert? You work hard. You read and read and read until it becomes second nature. You don't need notes because the minute people are talking about your subject matter, you're the go-to person. People must be able to say, oh, you need information about broadcasting? Oh, just call Christine, she knows everything. That's what people must say. You don't tell them what to say, they say it because you show them who you are, okay? The second thing is, a lot of the time, if you want to rise up in organizations, it's very, very hard to rise from the same place you're sitting. So if I'm sitting here and I want you guys to recognize me, a prophet is rarely appreciated in their hometown. But if I move from Nairobi and I go, for example, to even just Uganda, I can reposition myself and people have no biases. They'll not say, oh, Joanne of PMS. Do you get? Already the minute you say Joanne of PMS, you're like, oh, but she's not even an engineer. Why does she want to go into an engineering sector? But if I come and I'm just Joanne, I now can paint a completely new picture of who I am. So always remember you can reinvent yourself 10,000 different ways. You just need to start from a new palette, a new canvas. All right? Okay. I'll let Eva continue.
No, before you answer, I think there's a question that adds to the other one. So I think I'll let you answer that one. So the first one was how to repackage yourself. There's this next one, it's almost the same. So how do you raise your hand at work to be recognized for a promotion? Could be the same.
Okay, so I'm going to bridge from where Joanne left and just emphasize that one of the things that is critical in everything she said, you heard the journey of decluttering, okay? All these global presidents and narrowing it down. Differentiate. Differentiate. You can differentiate because you become a subject matter expert. You're differentiating because perhaps, you're in a new space in terms of career progression, etc. So differentiate. Second to differentiation is let people know about it. It's not differentiating for differentiating's sake. I'm differentiating and I'm beginning to tell people, maybe on my LinkedIn, maybe because I'm at a forum such as this one, maybe because I form a little group and begin to talk into that subject. You differentiate, you build awareness, okay? And then you begin to drive a trust. People will find you credible. People will begin to say, if it's that broadcast, only Christine can address us. And therein do you begin to shore up your value. And that's where we come to your next question. Because your value and you putting up your hand go together, they pair. Because nobody can say, put your hand down, you actually aren't good enough for a consideration of the promotion. You understand? So you've been playing it up. It's not just a promotion. It's a promotion because you now have earned it, and people can defend the consideration because you differentiated, people got to know about it, you were writing papers, you were volunteering to do X, Y, Z, you joined the project team to go and launch the initiative, I don't know, the 9 yards of it. So putting your hand up would not be debatable, but you can also find within your corridors a validator. Somebody who says, she put her hand up, I completely agree, I think she should not be passed for this promotion, or she should not be passed for this transfer that is allowing us to launch XYZ in a different market segment. I don't know whether that you could probably blend into that, yeah.
Thank you. And I want to say that a lot of the time, women, we tend not to make those calculated friendships. In the corporate space, friendship is fake. So please, don't go looking for that lifelong, beloved, the one who will die with you, friend in the corporate space. If they come, you are so lucky. Always ask yourself, how is this person adding to my career progression? Are they aiding? Or are they destroying my chances of rising? Because who you associate with makes a very, very big difference in your trajectory. So be very careful that you pick the guys who will make you go up. And a lot of the time it means that you befriend one of your bosses, preferably a female boss, because they will be in the places where they can speak and their voice is heard on your behalf. Among your colleagues, you're shy, you do not like to talk, but Joanne is your friend, she's loud, she's gonna talk. Let Joanne be able to say, you know what, when it comes to A, there's nobody better, So create those networks that speak for you where you can't speak, all right? But in terms of career progression, always, there's nothing that beats your ability to actually deliver beyond expectations. So if you're looking to be promoted, you cannot be doing what your job description says. You must be doing more than your job description. So if you're supposed to be doing at my level, this is the job description, you should be doing my boss's level. Then you're ready for a promotion.
Wow. And just for the record, because when I read Joanne's profile, when I see what you put up there, more than half the time they only tell about our entrepreneurial journeys. But the truth of the matter is Joanne and I were in corporate. I did 12 years in corporate. Joanne, how many years were you?
I did 8.
Exactly. So even that whole corridor conversation, we've got yesteryears to share, and that's what we're bringing here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe just to add to the corporate conversation, there's no way you should be working for an organization where the CEO, regardless of how junior you are, doesn't know you by name.
Absolutely.
If your CEO cannot say, oh, engineer so-and-so. If your CEO cannot say, oh, Lucy, how is digital doing? Do you get? You don't even have to be at the top level, but they must know you. How do you get yourself to that space? You do different from everybody else.
Lovely.
If you do the same, hey, keep on rolling with the ship.
So she just gave us a metric there. Did you hear that? That the way to know you're succeeding is maybe they call you all 3 names, but they could probably have settled on 2 names, but at least one of your names. Ametupatia majina hapa imetushangaza.
Wow, you can see why these two ladies are friends, though. They just blend and they continue the conversation. And you're the best branding consultants that could ever be. And I know this question that would have needed more research, and it's still tied to the other question. It should be my last question about this, how do you raise your hand or how do you get a promotion? But somebody was so specific. Two people were specific. One asked, can skilled best career have personal branding? I guess, for example, if they're like a water engineer, you're skilled on something specific and you have personal branding. The second one, still linked to the first, said, how can we be more active in the sustainable engineering space? So I think this needs more research, but just top of your head, just be specific on sustainable engineering from what you might know.
Look, we are so amazing, all of us here, created for purpose, each one of us. If you agree with me, put your hand up. No, absolutely. We all have a contribution to make. So, who is that who would suggest to you that all you are is a water engineer? Therein is an opportunity for personal brand. You are a personal brand. Wake up and understand that. In a sustainable world today, oh my Lord, you don't need to be the CEO or chair of the biggest corporation in the region. Just in your space as a water engineer, there is just so much you can do. You can build a personal brand because you're giving back. You can build your personal brand because you're volunteering, because you are empowering, because you are innovating, because you are differently delivering on water engineering, and that's it's a metaphoric example. It could be risk management or whatever else is represented in the room. So skills is an element of personal brand. So yes, you can build a personal brand out of skill set. Absolutely. Don't go home tonight thinking that there is a separation. Each one of us here is a brand. All of us here. I think the challenge would be how differently our brands show up, okay? And I think what I'm hearing Joanne and I trying to challenge is be one that steps up above many others, because then are you beginning to shore up your value? So I think that's what I would say.
I completely agree. And I want to say that, like, for example, let's say you're the water engineer in conservation and all that space, and you're saying, I'm such a techie. Now, what I hear behind the scenes is I don't want to be out there. I don't want to be the Eva Muraya who is in the newspaper, the Christina Mira who's on TV and YouTube and everywhere. That's not me, I'm a techie. So that reticence, that's what I'm hearing. And what I would say is that there are many ways to show up your brand without necessarily being front, right, and center.
Correct.
So if you're an engineering in water, the place of water security in life, in economy, in whatever, the place of conservation in engineering, how engineers are helping in conservation. That's the space we are looking at now. All of us are focused on how we're going to live on this planet. This planet, we are burning it up, you know? So what we're going to do? Can you imagine what a unique positioning that gives you that very few people can take, because it is a skills-based personal brand? I cannot take your space, even if I wanted. Yeah. I can't. I don't know 90% of the things you know. I only know how to articulate what you know for you, if you give me the chance, but you can articulate it for yourself. And the fact that nowadays you can do a blog, you can do a YouTube channel, you can be on TikTok. You'll be surprised that on TikTok you can actually do very serious things, you know? But just do the things that work for you and in your comfort zone. Because remember, authenticity is key.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lady who asked this, and it felt so touching. And I guess it's a question that is asked often, but then it's just the way that she wrote it, that I decided to read it just as it is. how can I, as a woman, handle the pressure building oneself career-wise and also growing your own brand? It is super hard for a woman to nurture a family, build a career, and also a brand. Just like that. It felt personal.
Joanne, you go first.
Yeah.
You know, whoever it is, I feel you. Been there, done that. What I'll say is that there are seasons of life. There are seasons when life is just so overwhelming, because it's a time when you've got early in your career, you're trying to build your career, you haven't yet found your footing in how you're gonna, scale that ladder. You've got a young family, you probably got a demanding husband. He's like, why did we have babies if you're no longer giving me attention? So he's also behaving like a baby. And then you have babies who are disturbing you, they have fever, they go to school, they come back with fever. Then, life is just hard. And for most ladies, it's in your 30s that happens. Very, very hard season. And all I can tell you is that there's no way to balance it. If you thought there was a magic bullet, it doesn't exist. We are yet to find it. So how do you cope? The first thing is that women tend to drop themselves off the list of things to deal with. So they deal with husband, with children, with career, with extended family, with church, with neighbors, with the chama, they deal with everything except themselves. So what I'm going to tell you is only one simple thing. In the middle of all that mess, carve a space out for you. If it means that every Sunday in the afternoon you're going to take 2 hours and you do not care whether the children are dying, you're taking your 2 hours. Do you get what I'm saying? Basically self-love, TLC. You must carve out that time, because that's the time that you take to recollect and find yourself and to think about things like even personal branding. It will be so far from your thoughts if you don't have that time. You must create time for you. A lot of the time you find people saying, I wake up in the morning to do my meditation, isn't it? My Bible study and things like that. How about you wake up in the morning to do my personal work, my self-work, my self-love? Do you get? So create that time for you, because you will not do anything about you unless you have the time to strategize and to think carefully about the path you want to build for yourself. These things to do with children, they pass. You have children, every year they're 1 year older. There's a time you lived in your mother's house and your mother was crying about how she's so tired of taking care of these babies. Look at you now. In a few years' time, it's going to be you asking, where are my children? I've empty nested. Okay? So don't stress about it. It's just a season.
Eva, she just mentioned about 30s being the most tumultuous years, and I'm sure this room is full of late 25, I can see, and 30s, yeah? So what are your tips for work-life balance, adding to what she says?
I mean, she took my script, right? The 30 thing is a little personal today because my daughter just turned 30 this week. Yes, I'm pretty proud about that. The truth of the matter, and I think Joanne, you said it so well, is that there is nothing like work-life balance. It was an unfair myth. Life is seasonal. Okay, girls? Life is seasonal. And seasons pass. Okay? Enjoy the ride. You're not crazy. It's life happening on you and with you and to you. So first and foremost, accept. Okay? Accept. This is my reality. That he had told me when we were dating he would be helping with the chores in the house, and it isn't happening. Your reality, check. So accept it. Choose kindness to yourself and to those around you. Make it bearable for those around you. Don't make them wonder, why? Be kind to yourself. And I really like what Joanne has said. You must just find that time of asking yourself, what is my name? Yes. because you might forget who you are. And that will be very expensive on this entire ecosystem that is dependent on your sanity and your efficiency. Get organized. Get organized. Find a support system. Build a girlfriend network that checks in on you, that you can offload your young ones to once in a while. Come on, girls, okay? I mean, we went through that where I would say, please, bring them. I'm taking them swimming. Go rest, you know? So get organized. Invest in good home managers. Unlike us, you heard our children are 30 plus. In those days, the quality of help was not what we find today. Now we have people who are training nannies. The nannies often are from 4, at least minimum or better. So invest in good home management, because your sanity in the office is important, that she can make good decisions. Delegate your nervous trips and things like that. Do you hear me? You don't have to be the one pressing the tomatoes. It can be done, okay? So get organized, and just invest in relationships, even with your mother-in-law and your sisters and your sisters-in-law. So get organized. And I think the other thing is ask for help. Ask for help. It may be help at a family level, but it may even be clinical help where you're saying, I just need a therapist. Okay? You may need a therapist just to calm you down and say, you're okay. You're just in the right side of life. It may be a coach that your organization could invest for you because, deadlines and pressure and, trying to make the business work. Or it could be a mentor. Ask for help. Help is always available. You just need to ask. Okay? And then I think the last thing is every day tell yourself you're doing great. Okay? Tell yourself you're doing great right now. Come on, tell yourself you're doing great.
Okay. Joanne, you mentioned something about social media. I loved it. TikTok, YouTube. But then there are ladies who asked 3 questions. I will put them into one. There's one who asked, must I be on social media to build my personal brand? Second asked, should I focus on 2, 3, or 1, or which one should I start with? Or should I start with 1 and then continue? Another one asked, okay, now I don't want social media. What other offline ways are there?
It's okay. And as Joanne prepares to answer that question, I use the word declutter. Did you hear me use that? Even in this answer that I was giving before, just clear out the stuff that is nonsense. Because it's taking up your time and you're losing your mind. And maybe it may be that you limit some of your social media engagement, especially this generation. Okay? Yeah? You might find you're spending too much time there, and that's why you haven't caught up on, I don't know, they're running a fever and the rest of it. Okay? Back to you, Joanne.
Social media. Social media includes WhatsApp. How many WhatsApp addicts do we have in the room? So let me tell you, social media is here and here to stay. And we're not running away from it. In fact, the same way people wrote the Egyptians on papyrus reeds, and then we moved to typewriter, we moved to computer, we speak to each other now. Huh? The generation after us barely speak. Is it true? They barely speak. That is how life changes. And sometimes, whether you like it or not, you don't have a choice. There's a time when you could survive without email. Can you? You actually can't. You could survive without a computer. How many of us can survive without a computer in our professions? But there are still pockets of people who are surviving without computers. But they give up something for that advantage. I would say that what you need to do is to first and foremost check the percentage of your screen time. How many hours a day? All our devices have that. Huh? Anybody above 5 hours a day screen time? Above 5 hours? Okay, we are many. Anybody below 1 hour? Anybody below 1 hour of screen time? See what I mean? It's almost impossible. So whether you like it or not, the digital space is creeping into our lives in a way that we can't manage it. Now, let me go to your personal brand. When you're building your personal brand, you have a target audience. So you need to know, who is it I'm targeting with my brand? And a lot of the time, you're targeting your potential employer or your current employer in a bid to rise. Those are usually who we are targeting with our personal brands. If those are the people you're targeting, what are the mediums that will work for your brand? So for example, I have been on Twitter for a very long time. I've been on Facebook for a very long time, on LinkedIn for ages, okay? Now, I got onto Instagram just the other day. I'm still struggling. Now, my team has told me that on Monday we are shooting a video. I'm going on TikTok.
Okay.
I do not know where this is going. But on the other hand, remember that for me, my social media presence is managed. I don't do it myself. So when you see those posts out there, I probably just got a Word document. This is the theme for next week. Please read through it and personalize. And then after that, I will see it when you see it. So do you get what I'm saying? So it doesn't take a lot of my time. Because when I tried to do it myself, it took so much time, you know? And then I would post 1 week, 2 weeks later, I've not remembered that I was supposed to post. I don't know the tools that I'm supposed to use to queue them. I don't know. And I don't want to know. I've got better things to know. So what I would say is that you need to decide whether it's going to work for you or whether it's going to work against you. And you also need to decide who is the persona you're putting out there. Are you putting you, the real you, where you will write and say, today I wanted to kill my son because he did 1, 2, 3? Or are you writing that persona that says, you know, in water engineering, I just discovered today that there's 10 molecules of salt that need to be reduced. Do you get what I'm saying? You need to choose the persona that you're presenting out there. I do not believe in this day and age you can do without social media, but you don't need to be everywhere in social media. My suggestion is that career-wise, LinkedIn. Have a very professional LinkedIn space. Occasionally, like, comment, write a few articles if you can. Even if you say you're going to write just 1 article a month on your area of expertise or something, that's good enough. If you're going to do a video, let somebody do it professionally so that you look good, you know. Even if it is your person, you know, your significant other, teach them how to hold a camera properly so that you look good. Let it not be those selfie things like this if you're looking professional. So let's just make that effort. But I don't really think you can escape social media in this day and age.
Yeah,
no, I think she said it all. What I would like to emphasize is the persona. Authenticity, you differentiate, but consistency of your brand. Don't be schizophrenic with your brand. We don't know who you are. Monday, Thursday, hey, is this the same person? Wow, la la la. And we were hoping to pipeline them into our talent acquisition. Consistency is key. Consistency is key. Don't let people wonder, are you the same person that they were engaging with 3 weeks ago? So consistency is key.
Okay.
I forgot to say something. Also, you know, riding back on the consistency. Just 2 weeks ago, we were looking for somebody to support for a CSR program for one of our clients. And we latched on this particular individual who had a program that we thought would work. And then yesterday, I get a screenshot of her post. And you know, she's having an online meltdown. And I'm like, hey, thank goodness we hadn't yet presented this to client. She just lost the opportunity to get about 500,000 shillings because of a personal meltdown. Do you get? So please be very careful that what you put online works for you, not against you.
Okay.
If you're having a personal meltdown, Eva already told you, please have girlfriends. Talk to your girlfriends. Don't talk to all of us in the world. We are not your girlfriends. We are judging you every second, every minute. Go to where you're not being judged.
Okay. Wow. I just want to ask one last question. I had so many. I had over 20 questions sent to me. But I will focus on this one about, there are two questions. Maybe you'll answer about dress code, or maybe you decide. The besties, please help me decide. So there's one who asked about dress code. As a lady engineer, I think I had so many women in STEMs here, yeah? And they wanted to, because they work in a male-dominated society, and they wanted to portray respect, confidence, and class. I feel like it was intentional to insist the respect, confidence, and class. Another one asked, any templates, books that can guide and direct your personal journey? And then once you've answered those questions, some people were curious about how you decompress after a stressful day. And then we can open to the to the podium. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
This big word, authenticity. I think if there is any measure of success in my personal life, it's just being comfortable with who I am. So there are big words you used there, respect and class and all that.
Yes.
You know, just ride your ride. You know what I mean? Just be you. Why are we struggling? We needn't. Who has set the bar? Who has set the standard? Do you want to wear your overalls and get the project done? Do you want to be in your denims? You know, be comfortable in your femininity. You know, take it with you everywhere. But then again, be practical. You don't want to cause yourself any embarrassment, whatever that means. Just, you know, just be you. You shouldn't be struggling with being who you are, okay? But don't let it take away your beauty and your grace. I think that's really how I would guide. You know, never woken up as a woman engineer, worked with them in the WASH programs that we have managed. And there's lots of good books out there. And again, depends on the season. Right now, I am having a senior moment, but I'm actually reading a book called It Takes Grit. I was just telling her, I found it, I think it was at Naivas or Carrefour that I found it. I was telling her how my hashtag in 2019 was It Takes Grit. Now that's a whole other session here. We won't even go into that. I found it a lovely book because it just tells you that you're not crazy to be going through the season of life that you are in. And just remember, life is seasonal. You know, this too shall pass, but it takes grit.
Now, lady engineers, first, you want to be feminine, but you want to be practical. You don't want to look frivolous. You want to look you're in the workspace. There are many, many ways for you to style yourself up feminine with just a touch of class that allows you to still be you. You can wear your overalls and have a brooch. A brooch will not interfere with your work, but it allows you to express yourself. You can wear your overalls and a hard hat, but you wear dangly earrings. It will not interfere with your work. Do you get where I'm going? So try to find your self-expression so that you do not feel so confined by looking at little things that could guide you. You could wear your overalls, but your overalls, you've written over all of them, you've written your name, Joanne, in a stylized way that makes you feel feminine. I mean, just look for the things that add luster to life without taking away the practical elements of yourself. Okay? And those are the little things that make life easy, because then you don't have to stress, you don't have to struggle to get where you're going. You don't have to. You know, it becomes very, very easy. What was the other question?
Templates and books that can guide your personal branding journey.
Okay, let me just tell you, I'm those people, ask me the book I'm currently reading, I can't tell you. Ask me the lesson in the book, I can tell you 20 lessons.
Me too.
So I really don't know which book I can tell you to use, but I find it easiest when it comes to personal branding to really spend time online. And I find it easiest to work with the people that I admire. So go online, find the people that you find most admirable, Let's say like Madeleine Albright was somebody that I really admired. I read her autobiographies, and from reading about her, I copy some of her style. You get? And then you don't have to pick the big names like Michelle Obama that everybody is copying, you know. You just find somebody who speaks to your soul and look at that as a template. And it doesn't have to be one. You can pick hair from one, voice from another, style of talking from another one, all these things, authenticity. There's so many different styles, and pick what appeals to you and what works with you. And always remember to also observe when their brands are going haywire. Because sometimes you can watch somebody and they're your hero, and then you watch their brand melt down. Look at Will Smith. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at Jada. You know, you put somebody on a pedestal and they change. So when they change, don't change with them. You're not them, okay? Think through it. So books, I'm sorry, I won't be able to help you on that.
Yeah, that's true. So I just want to open the floor to any questions, because I'm told that there's already one. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy. Thank you so much, Christine, Joanne, and Eva, for everything that you've shared so far. So I had just one question, and the question is, how then do you track success in your personal brand? How do you know you're getting there? We could be doing all these things, LinkedIn, you're dressed up, you're telling yourself that you run the world. What are your metrics? How do you know you're getting there? And what do you measure? Thank you.
It's a lovely question, very good. And I love your name because my mom was Nancy. So there you go. What you don't measure doesn't count. She said it for us at the beginning. I may have inferred it. Why are you creating a personal brand? You must have clarity about what your end goal is. What is the objective of you intentionally, conscientiously building a brand that is supposed to deliver credibly, to influence, to transform, to give a dividend? Why? When your why is clear, you will be able to review, reflect every quarter, every year on how far off. And she said it before, when you have clarity of the objective, then you will answer to the question, so how do I? Through what means do I? How frequently do I? And these begin to create matrix. This thing about seasons. I've been an entrepreneur 22 years. I think Joanne may have been an entrepreneur longer. Yes, 25. But the entrepreneur I was in my earlier years is not the entrepreneur I am today. And that journey has needed a pivoting at a personal brand level. Now I see that I am strongly associated with women markets and data. It's been a convergence of the craft of brand building, brand innovation, communication, and management, which has really been the career, with women's economic empowerment, where I just found myself in a space of asking why I can't borrow collateral. And you know, we began that journey many years ago. So self-driven advocacy around challenging status quo, that it's got to be more equitable and more equal. The measurements of that time don't compare with the measurements today, but there have to be measurements. So what's the goal? How do I get there? Through what channels do I get there? Which is now when you decide, will it be my LinkedIn? Will it be your little features? Will it be going to universities to speak? Will it be because I'm launching a women's engineering community, etc.? And then you reflect. So when they say things like New Year resolutions, it's really the reality of taking stock of your personal brand and saying, what do I need to do more of and less of? And how consistently must I carry, and what resources do I need to invest in order for me to achieve this goal? So quarterly, every 6 months, every year. And to be kind to yourself when you're falling off the range, to say, okay, let me pick myself up and do better. I have always had a principle in life. Fall 7 times, rise 8. Girls, fall 7 times,
Rise 8.
and sometimes your personal brands can get tainted because life happens. Don't be too hard on yourself. Fall 7 times, rise 8. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Stella, and thank you so much for a great session. I have a question on when you're choosing your niche. When I see Joanne and Eva, I'm thinking entrepreneurship. I'm in IT, and I might be loving farming or something else, and you feel like your brand is all over the place. What's your advice on actually choosing something that when you start building that brand, it rises until you can connect with? When I see Stella, I see this specific niche, this brand. So, yeah, I direct it to anyone. Thanks.
Eva has already directed it to me. Thank you very much, Stella, for asking that beautiful question. First and foremost, no human being is single-faceted. We are all multifaceted. We are like diamonds. We shine because we do different things, all right? So, for example, when you talk about me, you're going to talk about me as an entrepreneur. You're going to talk about me as the CEO of PMS. What if I was to tell you that PMS occupies only maybe 30% of my working time? Yeah. But that's the brand. I'm into farming. I'm into finance. I'm into so many different things. But when I speak about me, the public persona is PMS Group. So you pick what suits you or what needs you to be public. So PMS needs me to be public because if I want to win that job at Diageo or at Safaricom, they need to go to an organization that they feel is credible and has a credible leader. Same thing with Eva, okay? They need to know it's Eva Muraya, the guru in this, okay? And because she's a guru, they give her company work. So it is a deliberate brand building that is intentional to make sure that she gets that work. So for me, same thing. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing I do. So you are an IT person, you're a farmer, you're all that. Which one of them needs you to be a brand? Which one needs that most powerful brand? Because your brand is one. So you pick the one that needs it and the one that you enjoy being, because then you're going to have a great time.
And yeah, I like that. I think she said it so well. And also, remember that your audiences are consuming so many messages at any given time. You need to be closer to singular in messaging than multi. Because we are all crazy with how much information is coming at us. So not to drive confusion, choose the thing that you want to project. Be that it doesn't take anything away from you being any other ones. So she's PMS CEO, but she's also maybe farmer, maybe mother, maybe all those other things. She's girlfriend to me.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Eva. Nice to see you again.
Yes.
And Joanne, I've heard about you, but we haven't met. Glad to meet you today. So I have, I'd say, 2 questions and then a question to what you just explained. And let me start with what you've just explained. You say that you have to project a certain brand. So there are many others that you might be, but again, you just want to give that particular one. And we've been talking to a certain mentor, and she was telling us, you know, you can project that, yes, but you also need, especially on Instagram, you need to show the other side of you. Yeah? It's not just like I'm in risk management, and she told me you don't need to be very technical. Like if you have another social thing that you do, I'm also passionate about farming. So she was saying I could even bring that in. But again, just to add to her question is, how do you not just confuse people? You know, when you start bringing issues of farming there, and I'm a risk person, you know. Then just a comment before I ask the question. Somebody asked, what is the best book for personal branding? I'm in a book club, and we recently read the book Flaunt Your Genius by Hannah Githuki. And then she was very kind and decided to join our last session. And we all enrolled for a personal branding coaching session. So we are a group of 8, yeah? So she's an interesting and very insightful person. So you can buy her book. It's a small book, just about 120 pages, very simple. And she puts the personal branding journey in very simple terms, so you can get that. So to my other questions, Eva, you talked about prepare for events. Prepare. I'll be running an event very soon, and I'm very nervous. So what sort of preparation is expected? Just when I stand there, the audience I'm expecting, I must say I'm very nervous. As much as I'm comfortable with the technical aspect, how else do I prepare to be confident enough to run the event? And then the second question was on the social media. As I said, we've been going through the coaching sessions, and she said that we need to be posting a post every day or every other day, because we're trying to market ourselves. And I must agree, it's a lot of work. It's so much work. You actually have no time for it. So we agreed we'll just do every other day, because daily is too much. But then I'm finding it weird to post something professional on Facebook. Is it right? And also Instagram. Those sounds like you post with your girls at the beach and such things. But now how do I talk risk management on Facebook? Thank you.
Okay, I'll try and answer your digital questions. And well done on the book club. And well done on your event. Eva will talk to that. Now, first and foremost, always remember that, yes, Joanne is the brand. But if you go online and check Google, the most searched things about Joanne are 3. 1, Joanne Mwangi's husband. 2, Joanne Mwangi's net worth. 3, Joanne Mwangi's children. None of them has anything to do with me and the brand I'm trying to build. Why? Because human beings are curious about who is the person behind the person. So if you read a book, an autobiography, or if, let's say, even Donald Trump came to Kenya, why would you want to meet him? You can read the newspaper, you can see TV, but you want to meet him, isn't it? Why? You want to see whether it's reality. You want to authenticate. So there is a space for you, the person. So what usually I find easiest when it comes to digital is that we sit down and we prepare a calendar. So in the calendar, we say every Monday, it's going to be Inspiration Monday. So whatever I write on Monday is inspiration. On Tuesday, it's going to be Throwback Tuesday, not Thursday. You get? Because everybody's throwing back on Thursday, as we are throwing back on Tuesday. On Wednesday, it's going to be Wise Words. So it will be a quotation. I always quote African, and I always quote African women as much as possible. Because if we don't build ourselves up, who will? Okay? Thursday, then we have something to do with maybe tips or life lessons, the 3 things you must remember, the 10 things, or something like that. If it's on IG, it's going to be a carousel, okay? On Friday, something different, maybe a party thing, or maybe something personal about me. So Friday is the day that you will see me. There'll be a photograph of me, not just an image that has been done by the creative. So I do a photo shoot every 6 months. When I do that photo shoot, they should never ask me for a photograph again for 6 months. So it's up to them to tell me what they want in that photo shoot. You get what I'm saying? They want me cooking, they want me in an apron, they want me in gumboots in the shamba, I'll do all that, okay? But after I've done it, please now use those for the next 6 months. Then after 6 months, we do another photo shoot. You get? So that helps you manage the personal, the business, and also managing the frequency. Now, once you've done your social media, like for now, you should do next week's post the previous week. So once you've done your inspiration, your what, actually do it in a month. Because if you sit down on one Sunday, you can prepare everything for the whole month. If something happens in life that needs a tweak, you just tweak it on that day. You get what I'm saying? Make your life easy by planning ahead and scheduling all these things. Sawa? I hope I've answered your question. Yeah. And on the event, there's nervous good and there's nervous bad. Sometimes you need nervous so that you can raise the bar. So also differentiate which one you're feeling.
Thank you very much. The first question we were asked tonight was about walking into the boardroom. Joanne shared a personal story, and that made it more relatable. Brands are relational. Risk managers, heads of risk are humans. Full stop. Next paragraph. What is your event about? What is the objective of the event? That then informs who needs to be at the event. That influences how that event should be. That may also speak into where the event should be held. Okay? That then may speak into how much you must invest. Readiness means what is the compelling reason that people will want to be at your event? Is it because you have a celebrity coming to the event? Celebrity could be a church leader, a woman leader, a celebrity of, got it? What is the thing that makes it relevant and newsworthy? What will make it memorable? That entire conversation then helps you figure out what are the different stakeholder communities, okay, that then you need to consider to invite. Who will be the resource in terms of providing services? Sound, entertainment, infrastructure. Will you need a tent? What will be the moment that holds us together and we're like, how dramatic will it be? Put together your remarks that must reflect the objective that you will have set. At BSD Group, there are 5 things often that define for us the event, because we are a very brand-led consultancy. What will people see? What will people hear? What will they smell? What will they taste? What will they touch? Because brands are sensorial. Got it? If you can create an event planning matrix based on these things I've loosely said, your nervous will be good because you're about to blow the socks off everybody who's coming to the event. Okay? But you know how to find me, so I can support you with thinking it a little deeper. Right now, I don't know what the event is about, so I could just guide top line. But always remember, brands are relational and brands are sensorial. What will you see? What will you hear? What will you touch? What will you taste? What will you smell? Hello? The coffee, the sizzling nyama that we're here, we can smell from a distance. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
And that, I think, should really profit your weekend. I think you'll sleep better this weekend because you're about to be a risk manager who is relational and sensorial. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Eva. She's given you really brilliant tips, huh? If you stick to the 5 senses, you can't lose. Huh? I find also another thing that helps me when we have events and I'm going crazy because I've got a mild OCD. I must have, attention to detail. Everything has to be perfect. It's I'm those people who come to your house and I have to organize your curtains to be just in order. I'm one of those. So you can imagine events and I've learned something to simplify the process for myself so that I can have a good night's sleep. I ask myself, what are the 2 things that must happen for this event to be successful? So for example, it's my son's wedding. What are the 2 things that must happen? The bride must turn up. The priest must turn up. The end. Exactly. Do you get? Yeah. Have we simplified? Yeah. So the flowers that were supposed to be pink and they are peach, the food stations that were supposed to be 5 and they are 2, the balloons that were supposed to explode and they have fallen on the ground, the doves that were to fly and they have flopped, all those stop being center. So minimize the stressors that you can have. Thank you.
Oh, wow. I love it. My name is Christine. My name is Christine, but Christine, Joanne, and Eva, thank you so much for the talk we've had. Really, it has done more for me than my whole university education, but here we are. But that being said, I recently turned 30, and I heard you say that you have a 30-year-old, and from a personal branding standpoint, I've been thinking about what I want my next decade to look like. And most definitely, I want to be like you ladies. But what can I do now? We've talked about lifting your hands up. We've talked about Kimbelembele is okay. We're here for all that. But what else can I do as a person to make sure that I'm where you are by the time I hit your age? Or even better, what advice would you have for your 30-year-old self living in these current days?
Wow. First of all, congratulations on hitting the big 3-0. It's a lovely season, and as you said, it's the turbulent 30s. And it's not turbulent for no reason. It's because there's so much happening. You're at that point where you're just launching yourself as an adult. The 20s, you are kind of discovering what is really an adult. Am I an adult? Now you know you're an adult. So for me, what I would say is that it's really hard to speak to you directly as an individual, so I'll have to really generalize. But I think the most important thing is for you to determine what is your definition of success. When your brand succeeds, is it that you want to be wealthy? Is it that you want to be famous? Is it that you want to be influential? Is it that you want to be impactful? Or is it all of them? Okay? So once you determine, then it's to choose your vehicle. And once you've picked your vehicle, it's to amplify that vehicle and amplify your voice so that you're known, you speak to that truth, you speak to that space all the time, every time. And you know what's going to happen? Even when things come that mess up with your brand, they'll not stick because you stay the course, you stay the course, you stay the course. And I wish you every success. And I hope that you will really surpass our potential and where we've reached.
Everybody, acknowledging the ladies on the floor, on the podium, and I'm also acknowledging all the lovely ladies on the floor. So my question is touching on confidence. I'm really trying not to start with sorry. When I walked in, the first thing I had was don't say sorry. But this could be a result of us walking a few minutes late. So my question is dealing with confidence. How do we really embody true confidence? The word boardroom has really been mentioned, and I will give an example of sometimes what I go through when I sit in the boardroom in my office. My question is asked, I know all the answers. I even know how to deliver. But by the time the people in my head finish having a conversation for me to speak up, we have already moved, it's gone. And I keep missing my opportunities. I can feel it's bubbling, but I never really quite get there. And I think I'm having an issue of maybe imposter syndrome or confidence. And how do you really push that so you truly actualize yourself? Thank you.
Wow. That's a hard question to answer because I think it really works on a lot of us. And it never really goes, if I'm to be honest. Because sometimes even I will be in a room where I am intimidated by the people there, and I have to tell myself, Joanne, do you know who you are? How dare you be intimidated? If you're intimidated, who's gonna talk if not you? You get? So it never really goes away. What it does is that you must rise above it. Preparation is number one. So since you already know tomorrow we are gonna be discussing nuclear science, and you've studied nuclear science and you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, preparation. And then give yourself a specific deadline. You say, within the first 10 minutes of us getting into the boardroom, I will speak. And set an alarm. You know how my phone has alarms? Set an alarm. And if your phone alarm sounds, it means you basically have missed the spot and you must speak now. Do you get? So what it will force you to do is to actually start. But once you start, you'll find that you actually have everything you needed to say. And the more you speak, the easier it will become. I mean, come on, now, when I'm told to come and sit here, I don't panic, I don't have butterflies, you know? Oh, there was a time I couldn't have slept last night. I would have been, what will I say? What will I wear? No. Eva and I, at about, was it 2 o'clock? We're telling each other, hey, nini? You get? Because it's not at that point where it's so much pressure anymore. So the pressure does go. But I would urge you to start small, start in low risk situations. So first start with your peers, then graduate to the next level, and then the next level as your confidence is building, because then you'll speak authoritatively and with that strong voice that you spoke with here, without saying sorry. Well done on that.
First, let me just say that I am so happy to see you. And you look beautiful. I talked about reading the room. You know, all of us are walking into these meeting rooms carrying a cell phone. And as soon as we sit, we start having our little situation as you're waiting for people to get into the room. Set your phone away from yourself. Watch as people first get there early. Okay? The meeting is for 2 o'clock promptly. 5 to 2, but don't come after 2 p.m. because it's giving you advantage, especially in the context of your question. Get into the room because when they find you there, there's something that happened in the power. Do you understand? Number 2, read the room. Read the room. Try and see who's in the room. Listen to their introductions. Number 4, try and secure eye contact with the chair of the meeting. Find an ally, okay? Maybe the person sitting next, just have a little conversation, say, oh, we haven't met before, or what's going on in your department? Have an ally who will probably say, excuse me, chair, someone also has a point they want to make. Got it? But try and create a rapport with the chair of the meeting. Remind yourself that you've got a contribution that is of value to add. And yes, time yourself. I need to fit in my contribution within 15 minutes, within 30 minutes, but read the room. Chapa yourself if you didn't get to contribute the discussion. And it's true, most of these boardrooms, very chauvinistic. You know, I serve on the board of KEPSA. I manage gender and SMEs. It's not as straightforward, you know. People who are representing huge communities are in that boardroom. But I've learned to say, I've got a contribution to make. 22 years of entrepreneurship. I can speak into the SME conversation here. Do you get? But your mental messages, just re-navigate them. You've got everything that you need to make your contribution in the room. Okay? Wonderful.
Loving it up in here. It's so awesome. Good evening. Thank you to all of you. I think I have like 2 questions. Maybe you can both answer them. One is respectively, what one word describes best your brands for each of you? Which I would say, what one word describes your respective brands? If you're, yeah, personal brand. And then at the same time, different question, but as you grow, like as you become very known, etc., how do you still keep your authenticity and your values? And then how do you not lose them? That would be a nice question for you, I guess. Thank you.
I'm Kefoi Mary. She told me we don't have a B in Kikuyu. Thanks to be here and to meet all of you ladies. So my question is, as someone who is currently building their brand, how do I onboard my mentors, my sponsors, and my coaches to my journey? And how do I package that brand together with them for us to relate well?
With Kefoi, it is really just speaking your truth. By the time you have identified your mentor, your coach, your sponsor, you already have, there's what's the word? The ice has been broken. So I imagine that you are able to share from a place of, that big word again, authenticity. So just speak into your aspiration and then wait on them to feed into it, because you're in a relationship where you are looking to draw from them much more, perhaps, than they are. And by the way, at any point of those relationships, they benefit from your being their mentee. So I think it is just to speak into your aspiration, let them feed into it, and whatever your blueprint of the journey will recognize what your aspiration is. And therein is co-created value. Okay? For me, on this lovely question, let me start with the easier one, which is just being very self-assured. I was raised by grandparents who spoke into my life. And as a little girl, my grandfather and grandmother always made me believe I could be anything that I ever wanted to be. And my mother also added to that narrative. So as a little girl, I just knew I could be anything that I ever wanted to be, and I have never doubted, in spite of the curveballs of life. So I've always been very self-assured. I've always known that I could be without any doubt. I've never doubted my capacity, my capability. Even when there were setbacks, I always knew, okay, fall 7, rise 8. So I think how we raise our children, the messages, the things we deposit into their lives is very important, because they'll be sitting on a panel one day and they will cite you having strengthened their resolve to be anything. And it is true, we can be anything that we ever wanted to be. One word, Eva Muraya, disruptive.
Beautiful answer. So first, Kefoi, I would say that when it comes to your brand and where you want to go with your brand, it's your brand. You own it. Your mentors, your coach, your sponsors, it's like appointing a board of directors. They serve at your pleasure. All right? So they may be smarter than you in certain ways and certain areas, but you're definitely smarter when it comes to your personal brand, because it's you. So don't ever feel that you must follow what somebody's telling you about your brand, because for you to be authentic, it has to sit right with you. So just do you. Be you. Just be the best version of you. All right? Have I answered your question? Okay, great. Now, the first question was how we got there. I know the one word, but I don't think I had clearly the other question. How do you keep your intensity as you grow, authenticity as you grow? First and foremost, we don't really grow. We just mellow. I'll tell you something interesting is that keeping authenticity is not even optional, because once you find yourself, you're so proud of being who you are and wanting to stay in that space, because it's like finding the winning formula. You don't want to get off that stream, you know. So you stick there, and so you're authentic, because you don't have it. I mean, where am I going? Where else can I go? The best place I could be. So that's number one. And I think you find yourself in many different ways. And childhood has a big impact on who you are, whether you like it or not. For me, I was a middle child, or rather, I am a middle child. And as a middle child, I had to fight for attention, because nobody noticed you. You're not too old, you're not too young, you just survive over there, you know? And so for me to survive, I had to be exceptional at something. So I found where to be exceptional. And I learned that when you're exceptional, you get ahead and you get affirmed by people. And I enjoy being affirmed, so I continued being exceptional. So to my word, exceptional.
Please, a round of applause to the ladies here. It's not easy to stand in front of people and speak your mind and advice, and they have gained so much experience, wealth of knowledge from all the years of experience, and they're here to share, and it's really our honor to have you here today. Thank you so much for being part of Women Today, for honoring the call. I can't thank you enough. I love you all too much. Like right now, you're all in my heart for just supporting me continuously. They were there during the last International Women's Day celebration. Again, you never take it for granted when people support you like that. I also want to thank my tag team. I learned this from you. Last year. There are ladies who I just call and they will say, oh, you have an event? Okay, yes. And they're always with me and they're my friends. Thank you all so much. One of them is the MC herself. And above all, I have family that really supports me. My sister has been handling the reception all through, and as well as my cousin over there. You see, sometimes you just have that support, and I don't take it for granted. And all the new faces that I've found in this room today, thank you all for the support. I can't thank you enough. Women Today show seeks to grow a lot more, a lot wider, and not just to corporate women, to every other area around, to entrepreneurs. I have visions, dreams, and I'll also approach these two ladies to work with them, so you'll be seeing them a lot. And there's a vision to grow out of Kenya. Of course, I like an international audience, and there's so many women to reach. I told you about the vision of Africa and how many women are in Africa. I want to grow it to becoming a training and seminar and workshop program for many ladies. And so I have visions, and I can talk about Women Today show my life. It keeps me awake at night, keeps me on my toes. And I'm thanking all for the support. Thank you so much to Vilo, Mr. Belete. Hi to everyone. I said your name when you were not in the room. He's the managing director of Vilo, and he's the one who really supports women empowerment. So thank you so much.
Go. Well, these look like seemingly last-minute gifts. Flowers are delicate. They are beautiful. They smell amazing, and it's just as an honor to how delicate, how beautiful, and how your essence has gone out to so many African women and the women in this room. These are the kinds of conversations and people that I interact with. Clap for them even as they take a photo so that you encourage them. Amazing. Today is Christine's birthday. And so we're just gonna sing for her. She's such an amazing soul. She didn't want anyone to know, but I didn't agree with that communication I was given. This might be my last MC gig with her because of this. So just join me in singing happy birthday for Christine. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Christine. Happy birthday to you. Please let's stand up and just give our standing ovation. She's tearing. This is more than enough for her as a gift. 30-something.
In my 20s.
You're in your 20s.